Hey guys, how's it going and welcome back. We have the Saitor Full HD Webcam 1080p 2 megapixel sensor in it. As you probably guessed right away. 1080p should be better than that, shouldn't it, Kev? Well, of course it should. It should be 5 megapixel after all, but it's only 2 megapixel. Go figure. I mean, come on, we got a Logitech 1080p one in the house that's like got a 3 megapixel sensor, and it's actually not that much better than this, so hey. But these are made for doing FaceTime and Skype and, you know, all your other chat programs and whatnot. But they're about $47, 46 and change on Amazon.ca. So Canadian buckaroos, okay? So far cheaper for you guys in the States. Anyways, I didn't pay anywhere near that. I got mine at Value Village for $5.99. And it was brand spanking new in the box. Even got the included manual. The cable was already wrapped up just from the factory, and all the little plastic things you got to peel off, the little rubber feety all over the place on this thing, all there intact. So they bought it, I guess, and didn't end up using it and thought, donate it. Why not? Don't need it, right? Great. Benefit for me. Saves me spending that kind of money. I've been looking for a webcam. For myself, because my wife does have our Logitech one that we got from my dad, and you know, I mean, she uses it time to time, but mostly we both use continuity camera on our iPhones on our Mac Mini M1s, and because they're far better picture, obviously. And of course, we have studio microphones that we switch to the studio mics with, because they're just better mics than what the iPhone has, especially when I'm doing stuff in here. I mean, I want a quality sound. You know, I'm going to use a better microphone, obviously. So right now I'm actually using this camera, as you can tell. Well, hopefully you can tell. I am. I'd show it to you, but it's just going to give you the same thing, right? Yeah, it's. I did a test video before doing this one, and I got to say, I'm impressed with the sound. It's got a really good sound quality to it, so that marks up with the reviews I've seen on Amazon. There's on Amazon, you won't find this under Saitor. You will find what's called Nexigo. So I'm going to provide you guys with the Amazon.ca link. So if you're in the States, just go to Amazon.com. But the Nexigo is the exact, and I do mean in every single aspect, the exact same thing, spec for spec. In fact, they list more in their specs on the Nexigo one, because they list it being compatible with Mac OS 10.7 and higher, Windows 7, 8, 10, and 11, Android 4.0, Linux, Chrome OS, version 29.0.1547, Ubuntu version 10.04 and above. So yeah, the thing basically works on anything you can plug a USB-A port into. It's going to work for you for that operating system. And they say it's great for Zoom, FaceTime, video calling, OBS, Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, conferencing, gaming, streaming, recording, online school, which is another explanation why we only have a 2 megapixel sensor, because in all those areas, you don't need super high quality. If you want super high quality, use your iPhone for recording your stuff, or your Android phone with better cameras, or hey, just go buy a DSLR. I've got both options. Plus now I have this for doing cheesy videos with, where I'm not overly concerned about, you know, having the best megapixel picture. So that's kind of where I'm at with. I kind of wanted a webcam for that purpose, and this thing definitely suits it. But I think what I'm going to end up doing is using this mainly on my PC gamer laptop when I'm going to shoot videos for doing that, just because it's a real hassle for me to, you know, take my shelf off the back of my monitor to centralize this camera, and then I got the wire coming across and over to my hub, and it's like, oh man, I just don't want a permanent setup, not unless I could have it, and I can't because of where everything's located. So we'll use this on my laptop in future, which it's going to give us the same quality picture on the laptop anyway, so who cares, right? So anyway, yeah, so they do give you like a basic little manual with the specs and a little bit of information, and that's pretty much it. You plug it in, and there's nothing to it. I didn't even have to download any software drivers or anything, and you likely won't either. Even on the PC, especially Windows 10 and above, maybe even 8 and above for sure, you really wouldn't need any drivers. And besides, nobody's running anything below 10 anymore anyways, as far as I know. I mean, I don't even run Windows 7 anymore because it's so antique and there's no drivers anymore. So it's kind of like, well, but I have a Windows 11 laptop and it's a gamer system. So, hey, it says Windows 11. I'll use it on that. Now, there are a lot of reviews on Amazon, and you got to really take some of them with a grain of salt, especially this one chap in the UK, because this thing does have a privacy thing on it, little flap thing. So this way, hackers can get into your computer and they can spy on you if your camera's hooked up, and you wouldn't even know your camera's turned on, apparently, is the story. So, it does have a privacy mode on it to keep their prying eyes out of your business. You know what I mean? So, but one guy in the UK, he got one and his privacy flap wasn't even there. So I'm guessing he got a returned item. Somebody broke the flap off and they were just pissed or whatever. And Amazon has had a habit of reselling stuff and they don't even check their boxes. They just take it in. Oh, this is returned. Okay, just take it out of the box and put it on the shelf, and the next sucker gets that one, and I'm guessing that's what probably happened. And this has been a known practice of Amazon doing this sort of thing, which is pretty sad. They should be inspecting the products upon return so that they make sure that what they're getting back is in the same condition as they sent it out as. Or if they're doing a warranty return, they should be inspecting it anyways to verify that that's actually what's going on. But they don't do it, so hey, this is what we deal with in life. However, the average rating is 4.5 out of 5. Now, keep in mind, yes, that does specify for the Nextdoor, but the Nextdoor and this are the exact precise cameras. Okay, no different. Nextdoor says Nextdoor as a label on the front of it. Mine has no label on the front, but everything else is exactly the same spitting image. So that's the only link I can give you, because the company, by the way, this little guy, the company doesn't exist anymore. They even have their website on here, and I went to it, and it's like, doesn't exist anymore. And it's like, oh, wonderful. They must have failed miserably. I don't know. But that can happen. So Nextdoor took their operation over from the looks of things, because same camera, different name on the front. Well, it actually has a name on the front. But anyhow, so what I'm thinking about this is I am not going to agree with 4.5 out of 5, obviously. Mainly because they want $46 for this thing new. And at a 2 megapixel sensor, yes, I know it's an off-brand Chinese thing, and yeah, it's made in China, obviously. What isn't nowadays? But this is one of those items from China that, yes, it works very well. The sound quality is excellent. I can definitely say that that's a good sign, at least for talking-wise. And the picture is not bad at 2 megapixel, but we should be able to get webcams at 5 megapixel 1080p for $46. You know what I mean? That would be a reasonable thing. And it's not unreasonable to ask for that kind of quality in nowadays technology. I mean, come on. Logitech has a 4K webcam, which I've checked into it, and a lot of people really hate it, because if that's 4K, wow, they have a lot of studying to do to figure out what 4K is really all about, because the sensor in that thing sucks too. But you know what? You can say 2K, you can say 4K, you can say 20K, but when it comes to that sensor, it needs megapixels to keep up, not just with the resolution, but to give us a proper picture at what that resolution should be able to produce. And that doesn't seem to be the case in webcams. So even Logitech's really mother friggin' expensive 4K webcam is a piece of junk when you look at it at that aspect, because it is way freaking overpriced for what we're getting. Okay, so which is what's kept me away from it too, is kind of like, why would I waste that kind of money on something that I already know? Because I've checked into it on videos, I've checked into it in reviews, and yeah, people have just said, you know what, you might as well just buy a $30 720p camera for what you're going to get. You know what I mean? It's just, it's not worth the money either. But anyways, I think that $46 is a little bit out of range for this. I think this thing should be somewhere around the $30 price range, and that's about it. I mean, we can't get 5 megapixel at 1080p for $46. but for 2 megapixel 1080p, it's pretty good, and the sound quality is great. So I think it should be worth about $30. So that would go for the Nextars, or what do they call this thing? Nexigo. Nexigo is what they call it. The Nexigo should be about a $30 webcam, to be honest. Now, if they would up the megapixel to 5, okay, I'd be in at $50 all day long at 5 megapixel 1080p, because then it's worth it. The build quality on this thing, too, is actually quite good. And it also supports tripod mounting. So, you know, in tripods, it's universal standard 1/4 inch thread. That's what it's got on the bottom of this thing. So you could just hook it onto a tripod if you wanted to, or if you had to for some reason. You can do that, and it'll work fantastic for you that way. Now, with some extra bit of lighting, that can actually give us a little tiny bit of extra better picture. So what I'll do is I'll turn on my studio light here, and that does give us a little bit of extra quality to our picture. Not a whole ton, but a little bit. Cameras are always light dependent, keep that in mind. But we're only going to be able to get so good of a picture out of 2 megapixels, even if we had, like, you know, 1 million candle power coming down from the ceiling. We're only going to get so much, okay? So we can make a slight bit of an improvement with just turning the studio light on. So we'll turn the studio light back off, and you'll see the tone difference in the coloration already, just night and day. Anyways, so if you want to pick up the Nexigo one, which the link will be down below in the description, because like I said, this company, turns out they went out of business. Mine does not have a label, but the Nexico one you'll see is exactly precisely the same. Just says Nexico on the bottom of the front of the actual camera itself. But yeah, so this one probably sold for about the same price range. Maybe it was a few bucks cheaper, I don't know, but the company doesn't exist anymore. But we still got to review this stuff for you guys in case you come across this exact brand of this camera like I did. Hey, you know what? For $6, you can't say no. I would even pay as much as $15 for this, you know, like as a used camera. Brand new, I wouldn't pay probably more than 30, you know, because it is only a 2 megapixel sensor, right? So I think that you would have to kind of make that decision on, you know, the Nexico one being the same camera. Is it worth the $46 to you? Well, it may be. You know, you tell me. You're seeing the picture here, and the picture on the Nexico is going to be exactly the same, and it's going to be the same sound because it is the same device. So you decide for yourself. Is it worth $46 to you? See, I'm a little different. I feel that it's only worth about $30. And you know what? I feel that it's worth a 4 out of 5, not a 4.5. And some people actually went as high as a 5-star rating. I'm like, ain't nothing perfect, and it ain't that in a bag of chips. So yeah, that's kind of really pushing the envelope there when it comes to the whole 5-star thing, because nothing's perfect anyways. But still, either way, you know what I mean? So yeah, it'll do a lot for you. Great, it's working great. The one thing I can also appreciate too is, at 1080p, even at 2 megapixel, this thing is running fantastic on my Mac. I was running the Logitech one that we have here, which is a couple megapixel more. It's about 3 megapixel, if I remember right. Anyways, that thing didn't want to run past a certain amount of time, and it would always cut off at the same amount of time at 1080p. And I don't know why it did that. It did it on all my computers, except for PCs. It seemed to be fine on, but on the Macs it just didn't seem to want to do that 1080p for a long recording. But at 720p, the thing would never shut down on me. So it's kind of like, I'm wondering if it's maybe a Mac OS thing with the Logitech, because I always ran newer Mac OSs than what my father did, and we got that camera from him, and he had it for Lord knows how long. So it may be an OS issue why it can't push the 1080p for more than X amount of minutes. But this thing, I've got it plugged into the front of my hub of all things, and I'm like, yeah, it's working perfectly fine. And I went like 18 minutes on my first try on this video, and you know, now we're sitting here at around 14.5 minutes, almost 15 minutes, and it's still running fantastic at the 1080p. So I think that's a win. And it is a more modern camera. It is designed to run Windows 11, which means running on Ventura, which is the most recent Mac OS. It's running just great on my Mac Mini M1 under Ventura right now as we speak, because that's what we're using it on. So there you go. So decide for yourself, but that's what I got for you on this one. So stay tuned. We got more videos coming today too for you guys. And every day that I get a chance to, you know how it goes, right? You never know what's going to come out of me one day to the next. So thanks for watching, and we'll definitely catch you guys on the next one, all right? So see ya.